Okay, and we're recording. Good. All right. So we were talking about the ethicality here. Let's pull this back up on the other computer. California, let me go back up. Okay. Buyers in Denver. Okay, we already talked about that. So let's move. Okay, California made the change to its legislation due to the mobility found in the workforce. So they changed they put limitations on NDAs and non-compete agreements because there's such mobility in the workforce. And I honestly think that was a good decision. However, employees are still limited from working for a competitor while they're employed by the organization. You can't work for a company and their competitor at the same time. That's a conflict of interest. Would it be ethical to expect a scientist working in an organization's R&D department to maintain confidentiality when it comes to innovative and cutting-edge chemical compounds? No. You want him to remain confidential at this place, but if he's working in two different places, he can't do that. If he's working for you and a competitor, he can't do that. So you need to have this confidentiality, duty of confidentiality to protect what's being worked on. So it makes perfect sense in this case to use an NDA or a non-compete agreement. Byers and Stanberry mentioned that a non-solicitation clause protects the organizations from having its employees take its customer base to a new firm. So non-solicitation means I can't take the customers, I can't take Clary's students to another school when I move. No, that is unethical. That is wrong. You are not my customers. You're Cleary University's customers. So don't try to take a customer list or the customer base to a new organization. That is very unethical. So we have the non-compete clause, and this is where the employee agrees that for a period of 1 year after the employment, the employee no longer works there for that company, the employee will not engage in the same or similar activities as they were performing for that company. When I worked for the IRS, I had to wait 1 year before I could even work for H&R Block because there was a non-compete clause there with the taxes. Oh, H&R Block and all of them, they wanted me to work for them, but legally I couldn't. Non-solicitation of customers and employees clause, the employee agrees that for a period of 2 years after the employee no longer works for the company, the employee will not solicit customer clients or the employees of the company. So you don't pilfer from that company. You don't take their employees, you don't take their customers. A confidentiality / non-disclosure clause, employee agrees that during the employment with the company and following the termination of such employment for an unlimited term, the employee shall not misappropriate, divulge, disclose, or make use of any confidential information, intellectual property, or trade secrets. Once again, that's an indefinite time period. So if I'm a scientist and I'm working for this company, when I go to a new company, I don't take the work I did here with me. I don't use processes that now that we developed at this company with me. We got to work on all new stuff. And this protects the organization, that company, from losing that advantage that it has and also losing its intellectual property. If you haven't studied intellectual property law yet, it's quite fascinating. So non-disparagement clause. Your textbook noted that a non-disparagement clause prohibits an employee defaming or deliberately running down the reputation of the former employer. In other words, a person, not persona, cannot leave their employer and go to work for a competitor making disparaging comments to ruin their former boss. Employees held under such prohibitions would have signed a non-disparagement clause when they signed the employment contract. So you're going to know if you have a non-disparagement clause. You'll know it'll be in your contract. However, it's never a good approach to complain about a former boss. That can reduce trust that you can be developing with your new employer. So when you transfer from one job to another, don't complain about your old boss. If you had problems there, just say, well, I left for personal reasons. Well, what were they? Well, there was just some stuff, and I felt that it was time that I needed to move on. Okay. And most people in the hiring process are not going to be trying to get you to complain about your boss. And it doesn't look good either. Because honestly, if I'm the hiring manager and you're interviewing and you're complaining about your old boss, I know you're going to be complaining about me soon. So I'm not going to hire you. So if you want to get hired, don't sit there during the interview complaining. And thankfully, we are done. Uh, I think we still have our Zoom members with us. I apologize about the issue there. Any questions? Okay. Well, we have our lecture on Wednesday. It'll be on Zoom. Yes, Donovan?
Oh no, I was about to say I'm all good.
Okay, cool beans. I will see you Wednesday on Zoom. We'll finish up going through the material for this week and make sure you keep up with your work in Canvas and contact me if you do have any questions or anything that comes up or whatever. Okay.
This week is just a discussion, right?
I'd have to check here. Give me 1 second. Let me open up my classwork here. This is week 9. You have a discussion and an assignment. A discussion on Locker v. Pizza Hut and an assignment going through privacy and hiring. So that's all you guys have this week, okay? Next week you'll have just a discussion, but this week you have both an assignment and a discussion. Make sure you get those in on time. Initial posts are due on Wednesdays, and you need to reply to at least 2 classmates by Sunday. Yes.
I have a question for like final assignment. It said in there that you will give us like a scenario or crisis or so when.
Let me go through this afternoon and I will send out an email or do a post on the announcements about that.
Yeah.
And we'll have that figured out here today, tomorrow at the very latest. I'll have that all ironed out.
Yeah, no stress. Like
I'm glad you brought that up.
yeah, because
I'm looking, well, let me end the Zoom here because everyone's already gone anyway. And then we'll keep talking about that. Stop share. And they can save. Okay.